Hi, welcome to our Mapp Cloud Fall Update webinar. I'm Camille Deschamps, Director of Content and Communications. And in this webinar, I'll be joined by Ricardo Montvilla, VP of Global Strategy, and Stefan Piaskowski, Senior Product Manager at Mapp. This webinar will be divided into two major chapters. Rick will first introduce the latest updates for Mapp Engage, including two highlights, our new Shopify Connector, and a sneak peek of the revamped microsite builders. And secondly, Stefan will walk you through the exciting updates for Mapp Intelligence, including our new API-based revenue monitoring feature and the completely redesigned dead picker. Now I will hand it over to Rick, who will start with the most recent updates for Mapp Engage.
Thanks, Camille. Let's start by looking at the first highlight, which is the microsites. So it's a sneak peek, and microsites is a very important part of the inside customer experience, right? Because designing beautiful content based on the insights that you capture about customers and using the data is very, very important. And we're quite keen to launch this feature early to start getting some early input from you, our lovely customers, about how else we can improve or how we can make it better. This will be available to you instantly, kind of a couple of days after this webinar, where you can access it through going to content and microsites. So how will it work? Effectively, just like you're using the content management for email, where you can drag and drop and design kind of a mobile responsive templates, you'll be able to do the same thing for microsites, where you can use the same layout and frameworks and blocks to design your microsites for different campaigns or competitions or landing pages and whatnot. Now, why is the sneak peek? It's a first step in kind of a revamping the microsites using this kind of a new user interface framework. And we're really excited to start sharing this with you guys, to start getting this kind of early feedback on what you're thinking. And we really would love to hear your thoughts. So once you had a chance to test it out, please do make sure you reach out to us by emailing productfeedback@mapp.com. And we'll see how we can incorporate that into our future product releases. The next highlight feature that we want to share is Shopify plugin. Now, this was a highly requested feature by our e-commerce and also our direct-to-consumer customers using Shopify. And this integration does a couple of things, right? It's not just for kind of a one part of the product. It covers the entire Mapp Cloud suite. First of all, on the intelligence side, this integration kind of allows to fuel these e-commerce customer insights dashboards based on the data that's kind of going on within the Shopify instance. And it doesn't require any coding or tagging whatsoever, right? So the integration does this for you. And that means once you deploy this plugin, you're able to do things like e-commerce analytics, gain deeper customer insights, and even use some of the marketing automations features on site. Things like showing kind of a personalized banners or recommendations within your Shopify instance. When it comes to the automation and engagement, again, all this rich data that we'll be capturing is able to enrich the customer profile, synchronize the product feeds, and all in all, to be able to create these kind of a real-time or segmentation-based campaigns across multiple channels with your customers. Now, let's talk about some of the benefits and use cases. So as I mentioned earlier, so this integration allows to kind of populate the Mapp Cloud single customer view data with any behavior data within Shopify. And also it populates the intelligence dashboards. All the existing contacts and products within the Shopify as part of the integration will be automatically transferred into Mapp Engage, which means you don't have to do this manually, right? You don't have to do this initial data load. And also, any changes in the contact profile will be automatically synchronized into Mapp Cloud from Shopify. And you're able to kind of easily kind of capture new subscribers as they kind of go through the buying funnel, which means that we can instantaneously start leveraging this data in Mapp Engage. And that will allow you doing a number of things, right? So again, I mentioned this earlier. you can populate these e-commerce insights dashboards in Mapp Cloud for you to do better customer kind of insights, segmentation. You can also start segment and nurture customers based on their transactions from within Shopify. And also start sending some automated messages based on their real-time interactions, things like abandoning a particular product catalog or abandoning a basket. So all those things will be automatically synchronized. And also, you'll be able to start serving personalized banners or overlays or pop-ups, if you will, to visitors entering the Shopify store based on all this rich data in Mapp Cloud. And a quick overview of the type of data that's available. Effectively, right now I'm looking at the customer profile in Mapp Engage. And effectively, all these transaction data will be enriching the customer profile, so we can start scoring customers based on whether they're a repeat purchaser, what's the total revenue, what's the lifetime value of the customer, how many orders have they made, what's the average order value, right? All these things will be updated based on data in Shopify. You can see on the right-hand side as well. So every single individual transaction will also be synchronized. And that can be used for a couple of things, for building segments based on people interacting or buying certain products or product categories. But also you can use that for personalization. So all this rich kind of a transaction data can also be used to personalize content in your messages. And probably a bit more technical, but also very important, you'll be able to increase the identification rates on your website, because the entire Mapp Cloud is kind of integrated into Shopify instance. You don't have to worry about how do you go about identifying and matching these users. We do all those things for you. Now, when it comes to installing the Shopify plugin, it's immediately available to all Mapp Cloud customers that use Shopify from November 8th. And the main things you have to do is kind of create a new Shopify integration in Mapp Engage, and to download the Mapp Cloud app in Shopify and follow the instructions in documentation. And obviously, if you get stuck, the customer success team is there available to help you. One of the other updates, or one of many other updates that's worth highlighting, we're always enhancing our kind of a mobile channel capability. And we're now supporting token-based authentication for our iOS mobile channels. Besides the P12 certificates, you're also able to use P8, kind of a file, as the token for communicating with the Apple push notification service. The P12 certificate kind of remains unchanged, but it's an additional way of kind of authenticating your kind of a connectivity to Apple push service. And some of the key benefits. So again, token-based authentication is considered best practice in the industry. So it is important that we kind of migrate the best practices as they become available. It's very easy to migrate, right? So that you don't have to make any changes to the SDK. You do it all via Mapp Engage UI. So you don't have to create new channels. You simply edit the configuration of the existing channel. And the other benefit is that you can use the same token for multiple apps, so you don't need to have one kind of a token per app. And when it comes to the key ID and a team ID, it's automatically generated in Mapp Engage. And again, as always, all these steps are documented in documentation at mapp.com. So that's it from me this quarter, and I would like to hand you over to Stefan. Stefan, tell us more about the Mapp Intelligence updates.
Thanks, Rick. I will certainly do. Let's dive into our first very cool feature from the fall update. It is AI-based revenue monitoring. Tell me first what this is and what you can expect from it. Revenue monitoring is the next stage of our smart alerts, focusing on providing beneficial information in regards to your revenue. Within the tool and via email, you will receive notifications on changes. It also includes a root cause analysis, can be a causal explanation, or it is at least presenting a correlation. We also introduced an event database, and it comes with a graphical representation as usual. These are all facts, but you're probably asking yourself, okay, but why should I use this feature? How does it help me in my daily operation? Ask yourself, how does revenue monitoring work in your organization, in your company now? Our assumption is that analysts read reports to monitor the numbers, and that at least on a daily basis. And if the revenue is unusual, they dig in the data and try to find out what actually happened. But is this an efficient approach? How fast will they be able to realize a problem or even a possible positive change? In both cases, any delay results in loss of money. With AI, you will be notified hourly or daily about changes via email and in the tool. And that's most important, you will be guided into the direction of course, so you are able to act on that immediately. How does it work? It basically is a 4-step process. First of all, basically similar to our smart alerts, a deviation of revenue from the expected corridor needs to be detected. We call this anomaly, and an anomaly is a drop or increase in revenue, saying the value deviates from the expected corridor. The second step is AI will trace down the possible cause for the deviation. In order to do that, we invented a causal graph, which represents which metrics do relate to revenue and how they are influencing each other. In reality, this whole thing is a bit more complex and involves more metrics, but let me walk you through a simplified version of that. Once a deviation of revenue has been detected, we check for the main influencing metrics. The basic principle is to go down kind of a path until a metric is found being responsible for the deviation in revenue. Revenue is influenced by the number of orders. If the number of orders went down, then this can't be the cause, since less orders means less revenue. So we go further down and check for the baskets. So if the number of baskets went down as well, that can't be the explanation, because less baskets mean less orders. But on the other hand, if the number of baskets would be stable, there must be a problem with the orders itself, since you had the same amount of baskets, but still less orders. Probably you could check your checkout process if there is something unusual happening. We could go down further and check for product views and in the end for website visits. On the other hand, the average order value has an effect on the revenue. Here in our demo shop, the revenue decreased because we had identified less products in the baskets in average and less order value in average. If we found the root cause with the graph, a causal explanation can be given, stating that in this example, less and cheaper products were bought. From that on, you can check why this is the case. Maybe some of the items which are bought normally were out of stock and people purchased cheaper products as a substitute. Unfortunately, such a written explanation cannot be given in all scenarios. To outline a positive example, let's say revenue went up and no causal explanation was found. Still, we can let you know that there is a correlation. The order value, in this case for 2 specific products, went up. That means those very expensive products were bought unusually often, and that might explain the increase in revenue. In order to find out that by yourself, a lot of time must be spent to find those specific product purchases manually. Another case where correlation is helpful is the following. If we go back to our causal graph from before and trace it down until we identified the decrease in visits, we can't go any further with web analytics. We can't answer why you had less visits. But what we can do is we can check for other dimensions to correlate. In web analytics, there are a lot of dimensions, for example, certain region, device class, browser, etc. Correlations in revenue monitoring will reveal the top 3 correlating dimension values to present it. Here we see visits from Germany and PC devices went down. So it might be worth investigating why this is the case. And here we do have some kind of a problem. With web analytics, we can't answer why we had less visits. And this is the point where we are leaving the online world. We built an event database which holds all kinds of events. The event database will be made available for you, first containing bank holidays, vacations, and weather. A bit in the future, you will be able to upload custom events such as website or app relaunches or technical issues. If an event took place at the time of the revenue anomaly, it will be added to the explanation. In the previous slide, we detected that the revenue went down due to less visits. The event database could tell you that there was a bank holiday in the summer, and that might have led to less visits since people spending some quality time being away from the screen. Okay, so now when we have learned what revenue monitoring is about, I should probably tell you where you can activate it. We included revenue monitoring in our AI package. So if you have already purchased the AI package, simply navigate to the Smart Notifications overview screen and activate revenue monitoring over there. On the notifications overview screen, you will find also a new label by which you can filter down for messages from revenue monitoring. If you have not activated our AI package yet, contact your account manager or customer success manager. The second feature for Mapp Intelligence within our fall update is our new date picker. You may have noticed that we have redesigned certain parts of the Mapp Cloud already, and within the project of realigning the entire user experience, we gave our date picker in Mapp Intelligence a complete redesign. Also, we added hours and minutes granularity for the start and end time. Let's say you have scheduled a campaign to start at 11 a.m. on a specific day. With the new hours and minutes granularity of the date picker, you can let the analysis start at exactly this time and basically exclude all data before 11 a.m. on the first day of your analysis. We improved the usability in terms of navigating between months and years by adding drop-downs for the direct selection. Previously, you had to navigate month by month forth and back with the arrow keys. You will notice that a time zone label has been added as well to the date picker. This is extremely helpful if you are working on a time zone other than the account is configured in, so you know what the selected dates relate to. And for those who prefer working with the keyboard instead of the mouse whenever possible, we added a basic keyboard navigation to select dynamic time ranges and navigate to the date picker panel. Since the old date picker was rather small and sometimes hard to read, we gave the new one a bit more room and changed the highlight color to be more noticeable. The date picker does not require any special activation and will be by default available with our fall update. The third update of Mapp Intelligence of our fall update is about the Analytics API. The Analytics API for Mapp Intelligence is your go-to time saver. It lets you automate your weekly reporting and integrate it into Excel using Power BI. You will find up-to-date data in your Excel document as soon as you open it. We released the first version of the API last summer and we're improving it since then. With this update, the API hopefully becomes even more helpful for you since we added support for KPIs, spark lines, as well as for comparison analysis. As usual, you can download the JSON configuration directly from the UI, so you don't have to construct it by yourself. Within our documentation, we have detailed information ready for you regarding the request and response format. Also, there's a Swagger documentation available containing all the technical details. Last but not least, there are three more things I would like to mention. In regards to the Mapp Intelligence raw data export, we prepared for a simplified structure in the custom parameter tables. Currently, every custom parameter table holds 10 parameters. So you have one table for the first 10 page parameters and a second table for the second 10 page parameters. With the simplification, this will be unified into one table, so you will have one table for all the page parameters and another table for all the session parameters and so on. This change will come as announced for all customers who have already set up raw data export in January. All customers which have not set up raw data export will receive the update with the fall update. For Mapp Intelligence Marketing Automation, we added some options for the scheduling of your campaigns. With this update, you will be able to set a specific time when the campaign should start. Previously, you could only do this on a daily basis. On the implementation side of things, we improved our debug browser plugin. With the debug plugin, you can check if the pixel implementation is working as expected. We improved performance and made the server set ever ID exposed Previously, users could only see the pixel set ever IDs. Also, it looks a bit nicer now. In order to install it, just visit the Chrome extension page and search for Mapp. That's all I got for you today, and I leave it to Camille to close the session.
Thank you, Stefan. And so we really hope that we provided you with the key information about each features during this webinar. And you can always visit our official fall update landing page and our documentation page to get additional information, technical details, and how-to about each of these 9 new features. For any more specific question about feature activation or use cases, please reach out to your account manager or customer success manager. Thank you very much for watching this webinar, and see you very soon.